What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with another Pet Shop Wednesday. Though in relation to my YouTube, I don't actually know when this video might be posted. Now, I'm posting it here on Patreon on a Wednesday. But yes, if you don't know, and if my YouTube channel, by the time we get to the beginning of November, is still active, then apparently justice has prevailed. Long story short, my channel got hit with a number of, shall we say, dubious at best copyright claims, meaning they came from an organization that has no connection to the content that they had YouTube remove, and thus I'm appealing it, and I'm going through the process right now, and during that process I can't post videos on YouTube. So again, if this is like early November, maybe late October 2025, then apparently the appeal was successful, and I think it should be, given the facts of the case. But for the time being, I'm putting videos on Patreon. So for those of you on Patreon right now, hello, thank you very much for being so supportive the last few days. If this is indeed on the channel I've been using the last 3.5 years, then I'm glad I've gotten through that. And if somehow you're seeing this like mid-2026, then apparently I had to make a new channel. I'm still hoping that is the least likely outcome. But either way, I've taken steps to be prepared no matter what will happen. But we are at the end of the Relentless EP, released in conjunction with or as an add-on to the album Very 1993. Thank you again to Seb for all the Pet Shop Boys material. And yes, it's one thing leads to another, which speaks to causality and perhaps a domino effect or maybe slippery slope, the idea that making one action or causing a particular outcome will necessarily lead to a series of others that will follow from it. Now, that could be merely in the mind or perception of the narrator or the person doing the observing, and maybe it won't be the case in practice or empirically. But yes, it suggests that one movement, one action, one decision, one statement will automatically lead to a number of other factors or results. So let's see what that's like in practice, and knowing the Pet Shop Boys, I imagine there'll be some clever turn of the meaning, and it won't be as, let's say, traditional as most usages of that phrase will be. Let's see what it is in practice. This is the Pet Shop Boys. The track is One Thing Leads to Another, and it's the final tune on their Relentless EP, 1993. Oh, trip hop beat.
They close your eyes in the dark, since it's too late. You wonder why the light passes before you. In the dark, you slip into a coma. You crash the car, you've gone too far. Policemen flash for your credentials. You go too fast, but you're not careful. So you drive back home, confusion alone. She's a man, the way you're down to reach. She says, sure you can, you'll make love to her. She says, my place and yours. Drinks and pork, like you would dance forever, so you dance together. To make a move now seems essential. Someone stares at you with heavy good times potential to replace the other who just rips up another, cause you think you might need a lover. And oh my God, the cute of justice now. Maybe one thing can lead to another. Oh my God, the cute of justice now. Maybe one thing can lead to another, yeah. Oh yeah, it can lead to another. What's going on tonight? You think you might discover, so you pour a drink and start to think about another. You get the sack and then you turn up late. You think, get this pressure off my back. With the deadlines missed, your boss gets pissed. You fail your test, you're so depressed. And the job begins to suffer. And the job begins to suffer. Oh my God, the cute of justice now. When one thing can lead to another. Oh my God, the cute of justice.
tune, I have to say. And sonically, it's fascinating because it has some different flavors. I mean, it has that like trip hop, even hip hop style beat, and the verses, it's like Neil's rapping. I'd say like the delivery is almost more like poetry slam than it is, rhyming or dropping bars in a hip hop sense, but it is sort of spoken word, it's rhythmic and rhyming. So, in that regard, it is again like hip hop style, and the most of the lyrics are concentrated in those sections. But I enjoy also that then in the pre-chorus slash chorus, Neil breaks into his sonorous and smooth voice, and then there was like that interlude section where it got like a bit warmer and richer, and then by the end of the track it had this like uplifting, like grand kind of epic scale to it, and it brought in this like rhythmic, like high melodic touch, like above those keyboard or like organ chords and above the hip hop style percussion. And indeed, that percussion had a bit of like inward turn to it. It was a bit like muffled, and there's like certain types of beats in that style that they're not like clear and true. They have kind of a like inward turn on them, so they sound like you're hearing it almost like outside of a venue or something, and it had a bit of that quality to it. But what I did catch from the lyrics, which was in sections, and his rapid fire poetry hip hop style speak singing, there were a lot of words, a lot of lines, and a lot of concepts coming very quickly, so it was hard to keep up with that. But the first verse seemed to like suggest, I was almost wondering, is it like someone looking for like sex for pay or something, or is it more about like trying to find love, but trying to make love, but there's a situation where it's not playing out, or it's still sort of like behind some difficulty. Second verse I seemed to catch better, and that seemed to be like on a different scale, or like in at least a different facet of the person's life. The idea that he's at work and he's maybe falling behind, the boss isn't happy, that's making his performance suffer further, and then like it's like the job will suffer, so then it's like maybe the entire workplace. And so it seems like maybe someone who's had a failing or an inability to get what he wants in his personal life, he's carrying that baggage to work, it's leading to poor performance, his boss is coming down on him, which is further deflating him or making him sort of paralyzed or feeling like he's not able to function in the way that he needs to, which is then like dragging down the world or the people around him. And so it seems like it's like about cascading consequences, where like one thing can lead to another, can lead to another, can lead to a whole other scale of issues, and then another scale of issues, and it's like this ripple effect, not just for the person in question, but radiating outward and upward in terms of the amount of people, the amount of scale, and the reach, or the volume of consequences, like in all directions. So maybe I'm misreading that, but again, it feels like it is sort of the common usage of the phrase, but at cascading or perhaps expanding scales. And so it's like someone can't get what they want in their love life, and suddenly like the entire social and occupational and professional world around him ends up feeling the consequences. So I don't know if I'm reading that right, but that's what I took away from it on a first listen. And it's interesting because that sounds very dire, and it sounds, traumatic, or at least unfortunate, not just for the person in question, but again, for those in their orbit. But sonically, it seemed to move to like a more optimistic or even uplifting sound by the end. So I wonder if there's a little tension between the lyrics slash narrative and the sonics, or whether maybe lyrically by the end it's like, you're trying to have a cascade series of consequences moving in the other direction. If you can fix one thing, maybe you can fix that, and maybe, it'll go right into your personal confidence and your demeanor, which will, help that personal issue that you had at the beginning. So, yeah, let me know how far away or close I may be. Nevertheless, a really compelling ender, and one that, again, it feels like that's, like 6-7 minutes? Yeah, about 6.5. So yeah, every tune on this release seems to be at least like 5, 6, even 7 minutes. So yeah, definitely some longer tunes. And again, their prolific output has to be commented upon, from multiple albums, a lot of B-sides or singles or, non-album tracks, and then, adjunct releases, the like disco albums, the sort of like remix albums and so on. It seems like they just, constantly have so much material that is coming through their brains and is, onto their hardware and their software. So yes, just another cool tune from Pet Shop Boys. As I said, I don't quite know when you'll be seeing this on YouTube, though shout out to those who are checking this out on Patreon in the time being, or in the meantime. And yes, hopefully everything will continue to move forward, even if I have to start over a new channel, which, again, if you're on YouTube and that did take place, then this is probably many months from when I originally recorded it, because I'm going to try to catch up on all the previous reactions, which are in the thousands, before I get back to where we were in the present when this annoying and, quite frankly, unjust situation arose. But yes, we will keep going through Pet Shop Boys no matter what. Let me know what you think. I'll see you for the next one. Peace.